and welcome to the Dr. Christopher Hall Show here on the Neil Haley Show as well. I'm excited to welcome the program Nobel Prize nominated doctor and also best-selling author, Dr. Christopher Hall. Dr. Hall, how are you? And you're excited about our guest, aren't you?
Wow, I'm doing great, Neil. How are you? I'm very excited about our guest today.
All right, so introduce our guest.
Well, no problem. Well, this individual is an actress of film, television, humanitarian. We know her probably most from the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode. And wow, so I'm very excited to welcome to the show Chase Madison. Welcome to the show, Chase.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. It's good to be with you guys.
Hey, fantastic. So we want to just jump in specifically right into Chris's first question.
Oh, no problem. And so we have a lot to talk about, but just quickly, Chase, tell us a little bit about kind of where you're from and how you got into acting.
Thank you so much. Well, my mom was a theater director, so I grew up in this business. I've been acting since I was 5 years old, and it's wonderful to still be doing the work and fantastic projects like the Baby Pact.
Absolutely. So talk about specifically enough. Was acting something you want to do your whole life? Is it something just you really were passionate about wanting to do, or you had other ideas at first?
It's all I ever did, and it's all I ever wanted to do for various reasons. But, when people tell me, they're thinking of getting into the business, I always go back to that. Unless it's something deep and just biting at your soul that you have to do this, then don't. But if it's something that you just can't restrain yourself from, then do it with all your heart. And that's what I've always done. And it is a good long run, still cooking. I love working with teams like the team on the Baby Pact. That's part of the joy of this business. Matt Berman has led a really fun, engaged, talented group of actors. And that's a huge part of the joy of this. It's more than just being out there, seeing your face on camera. It's really about the family feeling and the messages that we get to spread as actors. And that's what I find in this project. That's what drew me to it.
All right, fantastic. Go ahead, Chris. Next question.
Wow, that's just so incredible. The whole Star Trek, series was incredible, but Deep Space Nine was trailblazing. The different types of actors they had on, diversity involved, and you were part of that, Chase. Now, tell us about that. You just being in the scene at that time with the Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space Nine was an incredible experience, and it was also one that I strategized purposely as a career move. I had a friend who had been on Star Trek, and I thought, wow, what an incredible legacy that must be to have that kind of body of work, of important work, of well-loved storytelling, and also that fan base. And that's actually how I met Matt Berman and why I'm here today. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Star Trek is something that will be part of our history and our lives, our careers for the rest of our lives. And so that's a wonderful feeling.
So you were talking strategizing. What were you trying to transition when you strategized for that opportunity?
Well, you can actually try to point your career in one way or another. If you want to do daytime television, you meet those casting directors. If you want to work for the next 30 years, you strategize Star Trek. And that kind of thing is important to keep in mind, that this fan base is so lovely and passionate. They're always asking, what can I see you in next? We're always getting opportunities for press, and the career is just able to grow. And how many actors get that? Not that many. It's wonderful to be part of this legacy.
Absolutely. All right, Chris, next question.
Oh, well, no problem. And just kind of backing up, you studied at the University of Texas, Austin. Tell us, what you studied there contributed to your career?
Say the last part, what that led to my career?
Oh, no, just what you studied there in college at UT Austin, has
yes.
that contributed to your career?
Well, I think I got that question. I majored in acting, and that was an incredible experience because let's take the Baby Pact, for instance. When you're on set, you need to know your stuff in a way that a lot of people who don't have those chops can't access. It's important to have, for instance, a theater background, which most of us on the Baby Pact do, so that we can work quickly. so that we can understand Matt Berman and his shorthand when he says, I need you to feel this more deeply, or I just need you to tighten this up. And that's like a muscle that you go back to, that you rely on, and you go, got it, I could do that right now. And so working with actors such as Gail O'Grady, who's got so many chops from, an incredible career on television. Connor Trenier has a wonderful television career. Haley Duff she's a wonderful actress and is such a natural, lovely presence. So much love in that girl, and that translates to the screen. Same Heather McComb, and obviously Quentin Aaron. All of these actors have such a skill, really. Yeah. And if I may go on, the Baby Pact has both comedy and drama in a way that really helps the story take root in our hearts. Exactly. When you can make someone laugh, you can make them cry. Yeah. And that's what the Baby Pact does.
Yeah, I've interviewed Quentin. He's a really great guy. And his story is amazing. And when you think about specifically enough this movie, what do you think what do you hope that the audience gets from it?
One of Matt Berman's primary messages in this movie is that with family, the door is never really closed. And knowing Matt as I do, that's an important message in his heart and in this story that drives us all to know that families are not easy, but they're important. And so it's worth taking the time and the love and digging deep and taking a risk and doing everything we can to repair and to support relationships with people we love. And I think that relates to blood family, and I also believe that relates to found family. But what he says is, with family, the door is never closed.
That's such an important thing. Chris, next question.
No problem. I mean, and everything she's done in film, in television, also in the audio drama series, Vienna. She's, like I said, it's almost like a humanitarian effort to bring people together, to let people know, hey, that we can have fun while we do things. Comment on that, Chase. What do you think about that? What's your theme, overriding theme?
My overarching theme?
Yes.
I would say my overarching theme is just keep going, because you can make life better. There is such there's such a lot of people that have depression and anxiety and that are ready to throw in the towel in one way or another. And whether that means a permanent decision, which is just pain, awful, or whether it's a decision to just, lie in bed for an extra 3 hours, or no, get up and go, get up and make things happen. I have brought my life back from the types of struggle and challenge and frankly darkness that I never thought I could. And what I want to let people know is that they can too.
Yes.
And really the secret to that, whether it's in your career, certainly we know this as an actor, or whether it's just in your life, that if you just keep doing the next right thing and you act with love and integrity, then your life will get better and you can do things that you never thought were possible. And I found that. And that's a sort of resilience that I think we need and this country needs, just to really stay true to our own core values, and things will get better.
Now, tell us where people can see the Baby Pact. When is it coming out?
Thank you so much. It's it's available on demand and on video everywhere on June 14th. So video on demand and on demand. You can find it pretty much anywhere movies are streaming. It's very exciting to see this movie. I just want to say this movie is a follow-up to The Wedding Pact. And The Wedding Pact showed us Happily Ever After, which is a wonderful theme, of course. The Baby Pact shows us what happens when Happily Ever After doesn't quite go right, which I think is something we can all relate to. So we see this set of challenges, and we see people working through them. And it's a wonderfully relatable movie that will make you laugh and cry. June 14th, on demand and video on demand everywhere.
All right, Chris, go ahead and summarize Chase for us.
Wow, well, no problem. I mean, she made some great points. You know, she talked about mental health and how important that is for us to address that as, you know, as humanitarians like yourself, and really as you know, as a physician, as myself. She mentioned core values. Get back to our core values, okay? And pretty much just believe in family and work hard. So wow, it was just great having her here on the show today.
Thanks again, Chase. We appreciate working with all you, social media wise, for all the Trekkie fans of yours out there.
Thank you so much. I am at Chase Masterson on Twitter and Facebook. It's Chase Masterson on Instagram, and you can follow the charity that I founded at Superhero IRL on every platform.
All right.
So thank you.
There.
And you can find the Baby Pact at WPTheBabyPact.com.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate you coming on the show.
May I say that again? It's
Yeah,
you can find the Baby Pact at WP2theBabyPact.com.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming by. We appreciate it. And thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right.
Wonderful talking with you guys.
Christopher Hall show here on the Neil Haley Show. Take care, guys.
Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company would like to remind you that your tax dollars pay for our buildings, but it's your donations that pay for all of our firefighting equipment and everything else inside. Without your support, the Brightwood Fire Station will just be an empty building. Please support Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company and donate today.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show here on the Caregiver Dave Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome Caregiver Dave Nassaney. Dave, how are you? What's going on, man?
In the middle of a book promo and preview, and just doing all sorts of stuff. I got a lot of plates I'm spinning like on the Ed Sullivan Show.
You got to do that. Hey, that's what makes life interesting and easy. Not easy, but fun. Yeah, exactly. So our guests today are international best-selling authors, and they are writing this. They wrote the second of the series, Sons of Valor 2, Violence of Action. So I'm excited to welcome to the show Brian and Jeff, best-selling authors, Brian Andrews and Jeffrey Wilson. Guys, thanks for stopping by. How are you?
Hey, it's great to be here, man. Thanks for having us.
And
yeah, that's our first time on the show, so we're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for your service. So let's get together and see how you guys got together to write the first book. Jeffrey, how did that happen?
Oh yeah, so that's a strange story. So Brian and I were friends before we started co-authoring. We actually met through an organization called International Thriller Writers, which most people are familiar with now. They have a meeting every year in New York. We just got back from it, in fact, called Thriller Fest. And we were writing independently at the time. And I'll tell you, the weird thing about me is I'm not that social. So I was like sitting in the hotel room my very first time, and I'm looking through the book. I'm trying to find other military guys so that I have something I can talk to. And we go down to this cocktail reception, and there's Brian. Now, Brian was a submarine officer. So you understand he's sitting by himself and crying and like feeling all right. And I felt
tears in my beer.
Right, exactly. I felt sorry for him. So I went over and No, but I was looking to connect with other military folks, and we became friends instantly. We're both family guys, all about family. Our kids are the same age. Like, it was just a natural connection.
Cool.
And then we didn't really start writing until together, at least until a couple years after that.
Brian, when you first thought about writing with Jeffrey, were you a little nervous about that, having to write?
I mean, I was concerned that he had stalked me at that cocktail party a little bit. So, I mean, that was kind of a red flag, but he's really talented. So I said, okay, I'll put that red flag aside because he's such a good writer. And I need that, to help, because if he can write all the books and I can just be on these interviews, that's very, very good for my career. So that's kind of how we ended up where we are.
So are you both writers now?
No, we both write. It is a shared collaboration thing. And what's really, really cool about it is when we met, I think I had published 2 books and Jeff had published 3. And we were both sort of in that lull trying to figure out what is our next project going to be. And so my pitch to Jeff was, hey, I did submarines, you work with naval special warfare. Why don't we do like a subs and SEALs sort of book? And initially, I think, his reservation or maybe his concern was, hey, how do you collaborate on a novel? This is something like, you just do by yourself. Writers write by themselves. But I think when we just started working on it, we realized, hey, all the values that we had from our military service, which is collaboration, teamwork, mission before self, these things are very real. It's the reason that these high functioning teams can get out there and do what seem like impossible missions. We just applied that to our writing partnership.
Yeah. So what gifts do you both bring to the table as far as writing goes? Because, I'm a writer and some people are really good at just putting it down, like a Mozart first time. Others, man, they got to edit, re-edit. So what's going on between you?
We're those blue collar writers, that we just got to pound it out and do the work. And there's no question that, each of us bring different strengths and weaknesses to the table. But what's interesting at this point is, the things that were my weaknesses I've gotten better at. And I think Brian also, by working together, we've learned from each other. And so now it's this weird synergy. We kind of joke that we like have this one brain. Like, there are times, I'm not making this up, I'll call up Brian, I'll say, dude, I have the perfect solution to the climax. Here's what he goes, wait, what about this? And it's exactly what I was going to say. So at this point, I think, we probably balance each other perfectly. And we have this weird method where we write simultaneously, which is another whole thing. But so I don't know. I don't think that that those strengths and weaknesses play out as much anymore. I think now it's just sort of like an Andrews and Wilson novel. It starts that way and ends that way.
Yeah.
Am I making that up, Brian? You agree with that?
No. I mean, it sounds like something that we just say on an interview, but it's how we get so many books done. If that method didn't work, we wouldn't be on this show. We wouldn't have time. We'd just be writing, nonstop. So it really is sort of that division of labor. I think in our case, the old saying, 1 and 1 is greater than 2. That's very much true for us. We have a synergy. So there's this force multiplier effect when we get working together, because I think what happens to a lot of writers, and we sort of feel sorry for everybody who has to write by themselves now. Sorry, Dave, but we feel sorry for you because, when you get writer's block, who do you call? We're in the project together, so we're both up to speed and we never get stuck, so the minute that one of us is like starting to slow down or lose momentum or get confused about where we should go, the other guy's just a phone call away.
And that's very important.
I'm not really alone. I've got a very good friend who's a New York Times bestselling author, and she helps a lot.
Good.
Everybody
It's nice to have a buddy
somebody
to call, right?
Yeah.
Now, when you think about it, Jeffrey, did you think the first book would be the success it was? Especially you guys both wrote books before that.
Yeah, well, as you heard from Brian, he's soft playing it a little bit. I was a little reticent. I actually was completely against it. Just and again, not because of any him or me. It's just like I didn't see how it would work. So I think I went into it with low expectations for what we could produce. But I will tell you that within a week, right, Brian? Like a week or 2 weeks, it was so exciting and fun. It was the most fun project we'd ever. The first time and Dave, you get this, like, you sit it down, you walk away, you come back, you read it, and you're like, damn, that's really good. Who wrote that? Right. And I think we knew when we did our first pass at the end, I think we knew we had something pretty special.
Yeah.
Just because of the military, the gritty realism that we were able to put into it. You know, we pride ourselves that we write books that honor the people we served with. And what we mean by that is if they read it, they wouldn't be pissed, right? They would read it and go, yeah, that's exactly right. And we focus on character, we focus on the relationships and the toll that this type of service has on people. And so I think that's something we were able to do together even better than individually. So I think the first pass, we knew we had something pretty special.
And I assume it's all honest. There's no fluff in there.
No, writers who put in fluff. What is that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of are excited about the industry in general because, you know, the guys that were the titans or sort of the iconic authors, you know, your Tom Clancy, your Robert Ludlum, these guys that trailblazed our particular industry, they were fans and advocates of the military, but they were not serving. You know, Tom Clancy was given access to ride on submarines and you know, got to meet with the CO and the COB and the sonar supervisors and the officer decks. And he got, you know, unfettered access, but I lived that, you know, like I actually did those things. And so now, you know, like Jeff's a veteran, Don Bentley, who's writing the Clancy series, Josh Hood, these guys are great authors, but they're also veterans. So we're bringing sort of a different level of authenticity, I think, to the genre than it's ever had before.
Now, Jeffrey, tell us a little about Sons of Valor 2 without giving it away.
Yeah, Sons of Valor 2 is really fun for us because it's actually our first try at a spin-off, a shared universe kind of series. You know, the Tier 1 series, to understand Sons of Valor, you got to understand that series. The premise of that series is that the entire JSOC SEAL team gets wiped out because during an ambush because of leaked and faulty intelligence. And the only survivor, our John Dempsey, is given a new identity, buried with his teammates, and joins a task force to hunt down the people responsible. So that's a real fun, and we've gone 6 books now. The 7th comes out next year. But all along, we were like, you know, if that happened in real life, eventually they'd stand that SEAL team up. And we had this minor character, Keith Redmond, Chunk is his nickname. And he appeared in a couple of the early books, and actually a little bit in 4 of the 6 books. As just a SEAL team leader who augmented our task force. And we got so much fan mail about Chunk. Everybody loved Chunk. Like he'd be in 2 chapters and we get more mail than on some of our main characters. And so when we thought about spinning off this series, we were like, we got to give it to Chunk. Like Keith Redmond and his boys, that's got to be the new Tier 1 SEAL team. And we're with Blackstone now, who we absolutely love. And they gave us just, you know, full support. They're like, we trust you, do it how you want. And so we spun this series off. It's all JSOC Tier 1 level SEAL team action. But what's fun about the series to me is that it's nouveau. And what I mean by that is, you know, for 20 years, we had a very asymmetric battle in real life. You know, we're fighting goat herders that are in the Taliban running around with AK-47s, but that's not true anymore. The new generation of terrorists are much more sophisticated. They're educated, they're multilingual, they're tech savvy. And so some of that asymmetry is disappearing in our world now. And on the good guy side, we have a new generation of SEALs and other operators who some weren't even born at 9/11, which is impossible almost for me to fathom as an old guy. And so what does that look like? What does this new generation of counterterrorism look like? And we were able to pull those threads through. It was so much fun. In case you can't tell, it was so much fun.
How much is fiction and how much is nonfiction in your stories?
I mean, I think what we try to do is war game out, you know, what's going to, or what could happen. You know, that's what's exciting for authors, is that what if question, you know, what if this happened? And like Jeff mentioned, you know, with the asymmetric battlefield, one of the important advantages that we had was drone technology. You know, the Predator drone ushered in a whole new era of battlefield tactics. And now, you know, 20 years later, you have Chinese building these Predator clone drones that can be sold for 1/10 of the cost. So suddenly something that was inaccessible to maybe a terrorist organization, you know, because of defense industrial controls and price tag, now it's possible that these guys can get drones. And we're seeing in Ukraine the impact of the Turkish drone it's a low cost drone. It's not as capable as the Predator, but look at what damage it's been able to inflict on the Russian forces. So once, a terrorist organization starts getting their hands on the same technology that we've used to dominate the battle space, that changes the whole tactical picture. And that's kind of what we played around with in this series.
I will say, just to add, in terms of fiction versus nonfiction, it's always important for us to get this out, because we served, because I actually served in the JSOC community. We take OPSEC very, very, very seriously. So while I think that we realistically portray the people, their relationships, their heart, their soul, their families, we fictionalize anything that could have any impact on operational security whatsoever, because we still have brothers and sisters out there on the pointy tip of the spear. And so a lot of the tactics, a lot of even the weapon systems are highly fictionalized. We don't write about anything that isn't open source material. But the geopolitics, like Brian said, that's the fun stuff, right? That's the writer stuff. What if? Every story starts with that. And so we've been able to keep ourselves informed. We both read a lot about defense issues, geopolitical issues, and that sort of informs our writer what if thing.
All right. So Dave has a question that he asks every guest. Go ahead, Dave, with your question.
Well, I'm a caregiver. 25 years ago, my wife had this headache that just wouldn't go away. We were going to see a doctor, but who wants to go to a doctor? But it turned into a stroke, lost her speech, became paralyzed one side. After a couple of years of grieving, we reinvented ourselves. She still can't talk or walk, but she can communicate non-verbally through Pictionary, charades, and she has a power chair. We now travel around the world, speak and on television. We're just helping caregivers stay alive, because 30% of them die from the stress, and many more become hospitalized, need a caregiver of their own. Have you thought about caring, or have you already done this for maybe one of your relatives? Is it on your mind? All caregivers used to be normal people like you and I, and all of a sudden, boom, you're a caregiver.
Yeah, so that's something that's a little more personal for me now, because I've got someone in my family that is moving in that direction, which is very, very stressful on our family. And you have to, what a shame we wait so long to ask the question, hey, what will we do? Talk to your siblings, who's going to be responsible, and that sort of thing. Nobody seems very good these days at formulating a plan. In our case, we've got something that's a little bit more slow and insidious. And so we have the opportunity to do that. But it's definitely something that's on the mind in my family a lot these days. And God bless you. That's amazing. Your story is so amazing. That's the end of the story, that you guys are traveling, you're doing things that you didn't let it define you. You didn't let it define her. You were able to adapt and overcome. That's the military mindset, right? So that's very inspirational.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and I guess I would say, I think about this too. My wife and our parents are getting older, and they're at that age where you have to start thinking about, maybe they can't support themselves and live on their own anymore. We built this house. Fortunately, we were able to do it. We built a house that has an extra bedroom on the first floor. We built it ADA compliant. It's zero entry on the ground floor. So if we needed to bring a wheelchair in and out, we could, because we just didn't like the idea of sending a parent off to a facility to be alone and have somebody else take care of it. I mean, like you said, I think when you look back at the history of what it is to be humans and be good humans, it's that we take care of our own, and our family unit is the core of that. So, we've made plans for that, and it hasn't happened yet, but I think, like Jeff said, I'm at the age where we're seeing that could happen in the next few years.
Awesome.
All right. Best place we can find information on both of you guys and purchase a book. Where can we go?
Yeah, our books are available everywhere. The best way to follow what's coming, and it's hard to do because we do 3 or 4 books a year right now for the next few years. We've got several series simultaneously in progress, and now we've got some TV deals in pre-production and a film deal. So the easiest thing to do is go to andrews-wilson.com, www.andrews-wilson.com. Everything about all our projects. So sign up for the newsletter. That way, when a new thing pops up, we can keep you in the loop. I will say, a lot of people spam you with their newsletters. We don't do that. If it's coming to you in your inbox, it's because there's something to say. We don't sell advertising space or anything like that. So that's the easiest way to get us.
So the TV deals, you can't say anything yet, but they're coming.
I know, it's so painful. It's killing us. You have no idea. Yes, we actually have signed several deals. We actually have 4 deals already signed, but we don't want to get ahead of the producers, and we want them to be allowed to make those announcements. But they'll be coming out very,
But
very.
it's been a very cool couple of weeks.
Yeah, yes, it has.
Well, congrats. That's
And when you
fantastic.
become caregivers, make sure you go to caregiverdave.com, help you survive instead of, thrive instead of survive caregiving. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, and let us know how we can support that and promote it, please.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Hi, I'm Tim Roney, Engineering Inspector for the Municipality of Bethel Park. Many of you have expressed an interest in receiving more information about road work and utility work being done in our community. You've told us that you want to know who is working in your area, when the work is being done, and if the traffic will be impacted. In response to that, we'll be regularly updating you on our road paving program as it progresses throughout the summer and when we receive updates on area utility work. We'll immediately pass that information on to you as well. Please keep in mind that many times contractors from the county, state, and other utility companies do not alert us in advance of their schedules. However, when we find out that they will be in Bethel Park, we will do our best to update you on the scope of the project. You'll find the updates on our Municipality of Bethel Park Facebook page and on our website, www.bethelpark.net. Thank you for your kind attention.
You're sitting on your butt, watching TV, and you're surfing for something good. Just grab your remote and follow me to Bethel Park TV. BPTV, BPTV. It's at Comcast 7, Verizon 32, and even on YouTube. Made by Bethel Park residents, it's a little slice of heaven, 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 heaven. Be sure to visit BPTV, BPTV. Be sure to visit BPTV, Bethel Park TV.
We're back to the Neil Haley Show here on the Caregiver Dave Celebrity segment. I'm excited to welcome to the program Caregiver Dave Nasani. Dave, how are you? What's going on, man?
Got to turn my phone off.
That's okay.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Our guest today is from Riot Act, and it's Rick Ventura. Rick, thanks for stopping by. And man, I'm excited to learn more about what's going on with your music now, but talking about the past. Did you ever think you guys were going to be such a success, Riot Act, when you first got involved in stuff in music?
With Riot Act, well, we had no idea. We just went for it. with Riot Act, just sort of happened. It happened a few years ago. A number of circumstances, being inducted into Heavy Metal Hall of History, meeting up with Lou Cavaris, and we would constantly talk to each other about, maybe playing together. And it sort of just happened. And then we were invited to the Hall of Fame in 2020 to play. And then the album started. I mean, things started to go real well after a little disaster, though.
So basically, tell us the history of Riot Act for us to understand, and then how you got involved and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So throughout the years, the past number of years, I was always hearing about Riot, and always hearing how it influenced a lot of the newer metal bands. And every once in a while I was invited to play with Riot 5, who was the band that continued after Mark Reale continued Riot and became Riot 5 after he passed away. They invited me to play at a show, and that sort of lit the spark. And then after that, in 2016, I played Loud Park in Japan. We performed the whole Fire Down Under album, and that was an eye-opening experience because the fans in Japan just loved Riot, especially that album. And then, like I said before, we were inducted to Heavy Metal Hall of History in 2019, which was kind of surprised to Lou and myself. And we spoke about getting together and playing. Hey, he said, why don't we get together and play? Be kind of fun. The band's, we were finally getting some recognition after all this years we went through of struggle. And so we got together and started playing the old songs. And it was a blast. It was just so much fun. Lou and I had never played before, and our guitar styles were just so perfect together. We sort of had an instant band because I was playing with Paul and Claudio, the bass and drums for Riot Act. And it just came together. And then we found Don Chafin through a mutual friend, and it was just like, wow, this just happened. It was just like, it was so hard to believe how it came together. And then when we went back in 2020, we performed there. Eddie Trunk was the host. He introduced us. We did 2 Riot songs, and band went over great. He loved us. And then disaster kicked in in March when COVID hit. And unfortunately, Lou passed away.
Oh, no.
And yeah, he passed away, so it was a really difficult period to get through. But we came back and said, hey, let's, we're going to continue. We're not going to replace Lou. He was instrumental in getting this thing together. And we just started, let's work on original material. And that was the whole concept from the beginning. But this was like, okay, the 4 of us, we're going to get it together. We're just going to do all originals and move forward, because there was just a lot of music in us that we wanted to get out. So that's essentially how it happened.
Wow. And it's a pretty diverse album. You're combining folk and rock, and also, is anybody else doing that?
I don't know. We just, we
You're
really
doing
did
it.
band. Yeah, I guess, we just wanted to write songs that were just, short to the point, nothing, crazy guitar solos and just indulgence. We just wanted to write good songs, catchy tunes, and we did a ballad on there, which we never thought we would do. We just said, hey, let's go for it. Hopefully people like it.
How's the fan base responding to all that?
Well, it's been excellent. We have 3 videos out. Wanted, which was the first single, the first song we recorded as a band. That sort of set the direction for Riot Act, that song, the energy. I come from a high energy, Riot was always a high energy rock band. That's kind of music I've always been into. Okay. Our latest video, Close to the Flame, the title track, just fits in the genre that we just like to play. And we touch on a lot of different things. The fans love it. The response has been great. So it's like, because we were nervous. I was very nervous because we did a 12-song EP of the old Riot stuff. So, you start thinking, oh man, I hope fans don't think, what these guys doing, they're winning the songs, but we stayed true to them. And every comment I've read, it's like, wow, it's like, wow, Rick, he's got back to the old sound of Riot. Well, it never left me,
Exactly. What I wanted to talk about specifically enough, heavy metal. Why hasn't it ever made a comeback? Certain music has. Why is it taking heavy metal so long to really make a comeback to the years when it was really popular?
I don't know. It's still there. There's still a hardcore fan base for it. It's just, bands like Iron Maiden could come around and sell out a big arena for 2 nights in a row, 3, so it's not like it's dead. It's just the focus never has been really on heavy metal, but the 80s with all the hair bands and all that, I guess that kind of image, it's kind of a played out image, and it defines an era, but there's still a lot of good metal bands out there. I guess it's just
I don't know.
Just to get out there somehow.
Something that you pump iron with is heavy metal, Dave. Are you a heavy metal? Have you ever been into heavy metal, Dave?
Absolutely not, but my kids were.
Okay, because when I'd hit the gym when I was training to be a pro wrestler, all that was on was heavy metal in a gym in Ohio, in Marion, Ohio, and absolutely that is the best to pump iron with. Is just basically something that's going to get your adrenaline pumping and get you going, especially you're trying to bench 400 pounds. Okay, I need something that's going to I think that now there's stuff out there that gives you that energy, but metal is a great thing. How many people told you that heavy metal is one of the best ways to work out, especially lifting weights?
Oh, I agree with that. Just get you going, Funny thing is, like, I wouldn't consider ourselves a real heavy metal band. If you listen to the album, it's like, there's a good, there's some touches of it there, but basically just a hard rock, song-oriented band, really.
And
there's all these genres of categories of hard, heavy metal too.
When was your last? Go ahead, Dan.
No, you go, Dave.
When was your last tour, and are you planning another one? And if you are, we're all getting older. I mean, I used to be 21 like yesterday, and now I'm 68. And it's funny sometimes to see these 60, 70-year-old rockers up there rocking out. How much energy does that take? And does age take a toll on touring?
I don't know. We haven't toured yet. The band is so new, yeah, we're about to in August. We're about to head to England in August. England and Spain, and then the tour of the States. So we're we're pumped. We're ready to pump iron.
Touring is kind of gruesome, though, isn't it? A lot of energy draining.
Sure. I mean, when I was touring, you're much younger, but I still feel like I have the energy to do it. So I have no issue with that at all. Actually, I keep in shape, and it's definitely you have to be physically fit.
How many of you are there going on tour?
I'm sorry?
How many of you will be going on tour?
Well, Riot Act there's 4 of us in Riot Act. We'll be touring with Lillian Axe. And those dates, there'll be a few weeks in England. Wow, and I think about a week, in Spain. And then waiting on dates to come through with Raven in the States, which would be an entire month.
Yeah. And your popularity is all over the world, right?
Yeah. We actually had a great fan base in England and Europe and Japan. And so it'll be interesting to finally play after 2.5 years, because every time there was a chance to play, there was a lockdown going down.
Exactly. Okay, we just went with that again. Now,
there was always some days.
Let's talk about your career before Riot Act. What band? Tell us more about your career before Riot Act for fans.
Well, my career was basically mostly with Riot. I came in on the second album, Narita. I did Narita, Fire Down Under, Restless Breed, Born in America, and live album. And we did a lot of touring. We opened for AC/DC, for Rainbow, for Black Sabbath, for Sammy Hagar, for Rush. I mean, we did extensive touring in the States and Europe, and we were very good act. We gave the openers, we gave the headliners a run for the money. Put it that way.
So tell me the crowd.
So
how big were the crowds you played in front of?
Oh, we played at huge arenas. Yeah, maybe 5,000-10,000, and we did the first Monsters of Rock in England. We had Judas Priest, Scorpions. Yeah, so we did some major arenas. I mean, that was probably 100,000 people, 75,000 maybe, somewhere in that range.
More depending on what. Especially for those acts that you were opening for. And the thing that's so important for the opener is supposed to set the stage for the main event. How did you make sure that you guys even put yourself in a competition that I want to get them so fired up when the main event comes, it's easy, right? When the main act comes on.
Mm. How we would get fired up?
Yeah, how would you get you guys to make sure that hey, we're gonna get this, we're gonna really get this place going? Because when you first sit in your seats
Yeah,
and
it's
you
a
sit
little
down,
nerve-wracking.
that's setting the stage. Tell us how
We
you.
know something. We were just. I think we were just so full of adrenaline, and the music. If you listen to Fire Down Under and those songs, they're really up tempo songs, and we just naturally fired up. You know, we didn't need any drugs or anything. We were just, all right, we had to go out there. We're opening for this band, and we're going to have to make an impression, and we're going to do whatever it takes to win that audience over. That was our mindset.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we had, there was times when we were touring in Rush that we'd see Geddy Lee out front watching us during our sound check, checking us out, because hey, you know, he probably thought, you know, these guys could be something, you know. But that was kind of interesting.
Talk about when your band member died. I mean, did it almost break up the band? And have you guys, you know, how did everybody handle it? Did everybody handle it differently?
Yeah, when Lou passed away right at the beginning, I mean, everything, we were on such a roll. We had started a 6-song EP, and it sounded so good. Everybody just had a smile on their face. It was just like, the vibe was just so good. We all got along well. It was great to play with Lou and revisit the old songs. Then when he passed away, it hit everybody really hard. It hit me really hard because there were so many tragedies in
you know, like a Freddie Mercury deja vu.
Yeah, we lost, you know, Guy Speranza had passed away. Our first singer, Red Forrester, our second singer, passed away. And then Mark Reale, the guitarist, the founder of Riot, he passed away. And then when Lou passed away, I was like, you know, this is just too much. I actually thought this was not meant to be. And I didn't pick up my guitar, I think, for 2 months.
Oh my God.
I didn't even know if I wanted to continue the project.
What did these guys die of?
Guy passed away from cancer. Rhett was shot, and Mark passed away from complications from Crohn's disease, and then Lou from COVID. So yeah, so the first few months of 2020 started off well, but then it just went downhill. So by the middle of the year, we talked to, the 4 of us spoke, and we said, we have to continue. There's just too much. This is just a good combination of people, and it's just
be good therapy too.
Exactly. That's what we did. We just started writing, and that's what we did.
What's your goal for Riot Act, especially with the success of Riot? What is your hope for this band?
I just hope that we're accepted by the fans, and we continue to record and play. That's really what we're hoping to do. I hope to maybe jumpstart the whole hard rock genre again. I mean, there's bands out there like Rival Sons, Dirty Honey, the Struts, you know, good rock bands that are still out there that are just, you know, carrying the torch, let's say. And that's what we're about.
Yeah.
All right. So Dave is, he has a final question. He's a caregiver. So go ahead and ask the question, Dave.
Yeah, you know, we're all getting older, and eventually we're either going to become a caregiver for someone we love or need a caregiver. And has that thought ever occurred to you? I mean, you know, I started the site caregiverdave.com because 30% of these people who care for others actually die from the stress because it's so, you know, they give and give and give, nothing left to give. They don't take care of themselves first. Any caregivers in your life, or have you had to maybe care for somebody?
Well, it's very interesting you mentioned that. During 2020, my girlfriend actually came down. She had cancer, so I was taking care of her.
Wow.
Only that you say that, and she, I found myself being a caretaker, and I just pretty much devoted myself to taking care of her. And it does, you don't think about yourself if you just don't, you know.
Yeah.
You forget about eating, you won't sleep or whatever, and because you just mind is just going, you're going back and forth to a hospital. So I was in that position
How long did that last?
for the past 2 years.
That's a long
She's
time.
in remission, and things are going well.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah,
there
so
a time where you like burned out and you just say, I can't
Well,
do this?
Well, this was happening with the band. You know, all this happened at the same time. Lou passing away, the band going through recording.
Wow.
Yeah, so you know, I look back at it and go, wow, you know, it's like what a
How did I
crazy
survive?
2 years. Yeah, it was really crazy, you know. But I guess I'm, you know, luckily strong enough to get through it. You know, I'm always keep positive. I always kept her positive, and just try to focus on the future. And so things are going to get better. And
I'm sure she's grateful she had you taking care of her.
Exactly.
she is, and I'm grateful that she's well.
And
Oh,
I pray that she stays in
Thank you.
remission.
Absolutely. Rick, where's the best place we can find information on Riot Act? Where can we go?
Guess where? riotactband.com.
All right. We appreciate it, Rick. Thanks for stopping by. And thank you,
Yeah,
Dave.
thanks, Neil.
Thanks, Rick.
Take care, guys. That's
Take
the
care.
Caregiver Dave celebrity segment, guys. Take care.